Tippy gave him a fever, but she was the epitome of ice. He tried to approach her both ways, but nothing came out. There was still a sure way to scare. Half to death. That's exactly what Hitchcock did. "The coolest thing about my job," he said, "is to finish with a blonde." The screams of terror made him laugh out loud. My mother had a peculiar sense of humor. Bending over Hitch's cradle, she would say loudly, "Boo," and the boy would open his eyes wide. To the surprise of his parents, this sturdy man never cried. He was born on August 13, 1899, into a greengrocer's family in Leutstoun. The midwife came straight to the second floor of 517 High Road. Downstairs, my father was selling vegetables, and upstairs, Alfred let out his first scream. However, at home his name was Hitch or Fred, and they were always surprised. The older children were moody, cried at night, and this one was silent. Mr. Hitchcock was a good businessman, and soon his business expanded. The family moved to a good house in another area, and now they had 3 shops. My father, the director later recalled, started going to work in a dazzling white shirt and a dark suit. Deeply religious Irish strictly raised their children. One day, for a minor offense, Hitch was taken to the police station. My father took care of it. The boy spent time behind bars and returned home trembling with fear. He has forever absorbed the horror of the servants of order. However, terror had accompanied him since childhood. His mother liked to scare him. He opens his eyes so funny. His father always threatened with a belt. Hitch calmed down when he read about crimes in newspapers or in books. These stories fascinated him. He felt such an exciting feeling, akin to falling in love, and then he started coming up with plots himself. One of them was taken from life. Hitch imagined that a policeman was arresting his father. The Jesuit school of St. Ignatius, where the boy was sent to study at the age of 10, added to his horror. The slogan of this institution was, "Give us a child, and you will get a man." Mathematics, Latin, literature, and physics were easy for him, although Hitchcock did not stand out in his first students. But the discussion of sins, the long discussions of human vices that the Jesuits practiced, made Hitch dislike. In addition, at school, he was instilled with a literally painful craving for cleanliness. After each visit to the toilet, he cleaned the toilet as if he was going to put it up for a competition. He was maniacally punctual, and every minute was important to him. In his paintings, shot later, you can often see close-ups of the clock. And then, in 1914, my father died. Hitch got a job at a telegraph company, then briefly worked in advertising. He tried to sign up for the front, but he was ridiculed. "I can't sew a uniform on you, kid," they told Alfred, pointing out his fullness. But he didn't take offense and started writing stories. One of them told about a woman in Montmartre who was attacked by a crowd of men. The editors shrugged their shoulders. Would anyone really like this? It turned out to be very. His life took a steep turn when he got a job as an electrician at a film studio. Then I tried my hand at design. And then I slowly got to the screenwriting department. Hitch persevered towards his goal. Just 2 years later, he became a co-director. His film was edited by a young Alma Reville, whom Alfred immediately set his eyes on. He had a strange attitude towards women. He longed for their company, and he was afraid of them. Although they married Alma in 1926, and they had a daughter, Hitchcock claimed that he had no intimacies with his wife, except for one time. At the same time, he looked at the blondes as if mesmerized, and they were the ones who most often became the heroines of his films. "Blondes are the best victims," Hitchcock repeated. "It's like pure snow with a dirty footprint imprinted on it. It's beautiful." He shot the first thriller in the year of his wedding to Alma. The Lodger was a silent film. In it, a strange man attacked blonde residents of London. Apparently, Hitch has found his signature style. Before the early 30s, he directed 9 films that were included in the UNESCO World Heritage List. Not bad for a novice director. But Prime Britain disapproved of such curious moves when the public was plunged into an atmosphere of fear. Hitch's behavior was also frowned upon. He was short-tempered, vindictive, and ruthless towards those he did not love. In the afternoon, he always drank tea after lunch and then loudly broke the cup. This was how he relieved stress. Eventually, Hitchcock went to Hollywood. It was there that he turned around to the fullest. His first film won an Oscar, and now Hitch has been given full carte blanche. He could shoot whatever he wanted, and he had the most beautiful women in America at his service. It seems that he is doing everything just to finish off another blonde once again. The press laughed. Hitch's obsession with blonde hair was too obvious, and at the same time, his heroines died. They were looking for a hidden meaning in this. Had he ever been abandoned by a blonde beast? Maybe his mother, whom he preferred not to say anything about, was blonde, but Hitchcock just laughed. Although he admitted, yes, he is trying to put an end to it. That's exactly what he wants. Kim Novak, whom Hitchcock starred in Vertigo, complained about his rudeness. "She's vulgar. I can't stand people like that," Hitch said, and Kim replied in kind. He has no idea what politeness is. He demanded complete submission from the actresses. Poor Tippy Hedren was especially hurt. Everyone saw that Hitchcock was staring at her hungrily, but Tippy was as cold as ice. Hitch controlled Tippy's every move, made her dress, move, talk as he wanted, and when she bucked, he gave her daughter, a doll with her mother's face. The nuance was that the doll was lying in a coffin. Melanie Griffith, Tippy's daughter, screamed in horror. On the set of the movie Birds, Hitchcock made Tippy repeat take after take after take. She was scratched, fell off her feet, and screamed. The real birds were thrown at her, with beaks and claws. "Tell me seriously," said the doctor who was called to the actress when she fainted, "do you want her to die for real?" A mobile home was ordered for Tippy. Hitchcock went there when he wanted to, and immersed himself in a long monologue. He talked about his dreams, and then he made an unequivocal offer to the woman. She refused. "I will destroy your career." Hitch promised, and he carried out the threat. He'd also liked another blonde, Ingrid Bergman, but she was married and immediately set a distance. This was decisive. The director soon abandoned Ingrid, but Grace Kelly became a real favorite for him. He loved to shoot her. Scripts were written for Grace, and Alfred Hitchcock made a big bet on her. Films with her collected cash. But Grace, how could she? "I got married in Monaco," but the director warned her, "It's a bad idea. It won't work." On April 20, 1955, Hitch accepted American citizenship. And in 1960, one of his most acclaimed films, Psycho, was released. Janet Leigh, the lead actress, left the set with a mental injury. She was terrified. The shower scene was filmed for 7 days, and to make her scream louder, they poured ice water on her. But the master was pleased. Janet had an understudy, Marley Renfro. In 1988, she was found in her own bathroom. Someone decided to completely stage a scene from the film. In 1976, Hitchcock directed the last film. It seemed that the storyline was built for a single purpose, to end the blonde. Barbara Harris, the new star, was even nominated for a Golden Globe after this picture. There was nothing more Hitchcock could do. He was already hopelessly ill. Hitch's wife received the award for her contribution to cinematography instead. Surprisingly, Hitchcock lived with this woman all his life. He died on April 29, 1980, and Alma died 2 years later. "I'm scared of my own movies," Hitchcock said. He insisted that he had not reviewed the paintings because they terrified him. He was probably just laughing, as I've always done.